to put up 70 points on an NFL team that had a good defense last year. I mean, they still got good corners. They still got good linebackers. Crazy. I want to bring this is not that good of a graphic, but this is interesting. Fastest ball carriers in a game this season. Do you notice a trend with the top 6 there?
Tyreek Hill, 22 miles per hour. Devon, I think it's how do you say his last name?
It's not a chain. That's what everybody's saying.
I think it's a Kane, isn't it? Or
no, it's not that either.
Anyways, he was at 21. Tyreek Hill again. Mostert, Tyreek Hill again, and then Devon Akane, or however you say his last name. We'll get it right because he deserves to get it, after the performance he had week 3, we got to say his name right for sure.
I'm just bummed that the move the chains pun with him doesn't work because apparently that's not how you pronounce it. But yeah, so fastest show on turf. That's, I guess not even worth debating at this point, but are they one of the best in NFL history? That's what the season will tell us.
We'll find out. I mean, through 3 games, there's no arguing it. Through 3 games, they're in the conversation, and if they stay at the pace. The thing with offensive football is, how do you adjust and continue to tweak and continue to improve? Because defenses will start to adjust, and it seems like Miami's got this hot trend, this new thing that everybody else is copying, and we'll get into some film of this here in a second, and everyone else is trying to steal it, but eventually defenses start to figure it out a little bit, and it's just a matter of what are they going to do to defend it, and then how does Mike McDaniel counter their counter. Football is very much like chess, when it comes to play calling. So we'll take a look at some of the film, and
we have, I believe, 4 examples of this. And before we hop into this, it is worth noting the Dolphins motion somebody before the snap almost 84% of the time in 3 games. I don't expect that rate to slow down much because it seems to be a crucial way that they're able to kind of get guys open, confuse defenses.
Which, for those who don't know, is an unheard of percentage of motion and shifts. And John, if you pause it here before we get into this first play, as we break this down, the reason, just so people are clear and understand why that benefits an offense so much, is because it's quarterback friendly. It puts the defense in a predicament of you can't dictate what the offense does, because defensive football is reactive, right? You have to respond to what the offense does, how they line up, how they move. So if you come out and you're stationary, you don't move a lot. You come out in similar formations a lot. You run the same plays that look the same, and you don't change how you're doing them. Defenses can start to figure out, they can predict what you're going to do, and then therefore they can guess right and put themselves in defense-friendly calls. But because of what Mike McDaniel and this offense does with the weapons that they have, it's very, very hard to defend. It's very easy for Tua to see where he needs to look and scan the field. It's very easy for blocks to become easier, right, because of alignment and because of where these guys are motioning to. And do you motion to get numbers? Do you motion to disguise where you're going with the ball? So we'll get in the film and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
And so really quick, just what front are we currently looking at? This looks like kind of like a 5-2 and then what, 2 safeties? What
2 safeties with the 2 corners. It's probably either variation of a cover 2 look. It looks like they'll probably bring pressure here. Right. And it's probably a variation of cover 2 or quarters, if I had to guess, which is cover 4 is quarters. Mm-hmm. But if you see, Miami's just in a 2-back set with 2 receivers in the game and a tight end, and they do this cheetah motion is what they're calling it. The cheetah motion is just an out motion. It's just an exit motion. It's just the guy going from tight in the formation to wide in the formation. So you can let this play. This is the first touchdown to Tyreek Hill. We'll watch from the other angle.
I actually want to back this up real quick, if you don't mind, just because keep an eye on where Tyreek is and how somehow, some way he basically goes uncovered here.
It attacks the zone, right? So this is definitely a quarter zone. You can see because the safety, and they do a simple high-low concept. So if you go back one more time, John, this is a quarters beating coverage. The safety to the bottom of the screen and the corner are responsible for 25% of the field each. This receiver on the bottom of the screen runs right into their zone, and Pat Surtain chases it, and then the safety comes down to chase it. Tyreek runs right over the top of that safety zone because he got over-aggressive, which is just a defensive mistake. But it's open because of the play design. The motion shows pre-snap that it's not straight man-to-man. It shows that it's some type of zone, which helps Tua process this play quicker and avoid a sack. And then obviously just the play design of the route shows that they're trying to grab that near side safety, that safety on the right side of the screen right now, number 32, pull him down, use Tyreek's speed to get behind him. It's already hard enough to stay on top of Tyreek Hill, but when you do concepts like this, because what choice do you have? The other choice would be 32 stays high, guards Tyreek, and then this near side receiver runs open across the field. So it's plus, look at the pocket, look at the protection. There's no pressure on Tua whatsoever.
No, it's crazy. Also, Drew threw into the chat. It's Devon Achane.
Okay.
Achane.
Yeah, let's not forget that because he's a dude.
Yeah, he's definitely a dude. And again, I mean, Miami just knowing they like speed on offense, and that seems to be how they've drafted. And then the next timestamp you got is 17:35. Shout out NFL for not breaking these down by plays. They just give you an entire reel of film to have to work with.
Yeah, it's really annoying, actually. They need to clip that.
Can I make it just, working in software, I have to make this complaint. You click on the setting wheel, and there's just one button, speed. And then you have to click into that to change the speed.
Yeah, they're clearly not very
not tech savvy.
Adapted to what the whole purpose of all 22 film is that so you can break it down and continue to watch it slow-mo.
Multi-billion-dollar organization, most profitable sports organization in the world, and they have to give us 2 buttons to change the speed because they can't figure it out. Anyways, I'm sure all of the coders and UI developers that watch this show just got really pissed at that too. So, all right.
So here you see again, Tyreek Hill is going to line up in kind of like a hump, like slot. This is what they're calling a cheetah motion, where he goes out again, right? And it puts these guys in a pickle because if you see the defenders, they're manned up pre-snap on these 2 guys, but because of that exit motion, they have to execute either a switch call or a lock call. Like, the safety has to talk to the corner. Are you going to take Tyreek because you crossed my guy and you take my guy now? Or are you going to follow past my guy and stay on Tyreek? Clearly, there's a lack of communication here. It forces you to play off coverage as well, so you can't press and try to slow Tyreek down physically. So now you get off coverage against Tyreek Hill, which good luck in any underneath combination, curls, comebacks, double moves, whatever. If you're in a bailing technique against that guy, you are not going to cover him in man-to-man. You can see right here, there's communication. It's a simple motion, very, very simple. It's not like they're, reinventing the wheel, but this is really put the NFL in a pickle. Like, some of the best defensive minds, Belichick could not figure this out. I mean, they did it so many times in that game as well, and that's what I'm talking about. Just a simple motion like that gets Tyreek Hill in a great man-to-man situation, and it's pitch and catch from that point.
What do you feel like? And obviously, this is going to be the active discussion that's going to go on the entire season for defensive minds of the NFL. What's the fix to that? Like, is there one?
I mean, more zone, more zone, more aggressive zone. Your linebackers have to be able to drop into those windows better. But the problem is their running game is good as well. Like, if Miami was only passing the ball, that's one thing, but because they're running the ball efficiently and they're using these motions to help in their run game as well, it's really, really hard because you got to pick your poison. Do you stuff the run and force Tua to throw, or do you play with a lighter box to take Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and those guys out of the game, and then Miami's just going to run the ball downhill? This play was one of the more creative plays of the day. If you go back, John, they run a shit ton of what's called like a GT, right, which is where you pull the guard tackle. And you set it up with this slip, right, which you can see what this fullback does here. He slips into the flat on a quick out route, and it's like kind of like an inside zone bluff is what they call it. But they've done this so much down in the red zone. They've done this so much. You see him do this short motion back. Everything looks like they're going to do the same play action where he slips into the flat. So what do? Everything's looking like that pre-snap. Tua's looking that way. And then he flips to the guy that's underneath because the Broncos over-respond to something that they've seen on film already probably 5 or 6 times this year for big plays, is that inside zone bluff that they're doing there. And so what does Mike McDaniel do? He builds a play, calculates this play off of a play they've had success with, knowing Denver's preparing, how do I stop this inside zone bluff play? This is how we're going to stop it, by overreacting to it. And Mike McDaniel dials it up at the right time.
By the way, that's the type of games that Andy Reid likes to play with people all the time. That's why their stupid shovel passes in the red zone work so often for KC and not for really any other team in the NFL, is because they're really good at selling that in a multitude of different ways, trying to convince the defense something else is happening. They draw up the shovel play differently just about every time that they run it, and they run the stupid shovel, and it's right there. The no-look element, obviously, super sick. And it's just scary to think that, like, you know, you're having, like, Shanahan kind of tree execution with his style of offense, with the kind of creativity that you can see from, you know, Andy Reid, where you're getting so much volume of just different motions, different disguises that they're running all the time, drawing up new plays each week. I mean, that's a nightmare to deal with as a defense.
Yeah.
How you stop this, I'm not sure. I guess, like you said, like, teams are going to have to come up with something later in the season, or Miami's not going to be stopped all season. This next play, 340. Okay, here we go. My bad.
I think this is the last clip from this game that we'll show, and then we'll get into the next games. But again, this is the opposite of a cheetah motion. This is where they come in, okay? So they call it like a Zin or an X-in motion, and then you see them start to return out. So again, it looks similar to what they do all the time. It's this short motion. What are they going to do? Everyone thinks he's going to cross Tyreek Hill and then become the inside receiver here, right? Sure. So when you watch him go in motion, the defense thinks, okay, he's going to pass him. This is Braxton Berrios. Nope. He returns as the check down in the flat. That holds this guy who was lined up on Tyreek Hill in this zone coverage. It holds Pat Surtain, and all Tyreek does is run a simple 5-step bang route, post route, and then you just see what he does after the catch. Now, this he can't coach. This is just God-given. But it's the ability to get him in that situation to make that play that is what's making Miami so tough to stop.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And it's simple, honestly. Like, these plays are not, like, he's not making up new plays. He's just designing new ways to get to these plays, and he's calling them at the right times against the right looks. And you dial up the right play call against the wrong look, and usually the offense is going to have a favorable matchup on that play. That's just how football works. And right. He's doing it at an alarmingly high rate, and like we said, he's using motion, almost 84% of the time, you said? That's like never before been done. Not at that high of a rate.